Hi, everyone.
Hey,
I'm Alicia,
and I'm Meredith.
and this is Summer is Fun, a Summer House podcast, season 7, episode 8. I would imagine we're past the halfway point, but also, I don't know.
I think including reunions, like total episodes, this is halfway. I'm thinking 16.
But Vanderpump only got like 15, Lala said.
I know, so that's what I think. I think it's going to be 14 regular season episodes and 2 reunions.
Ugh,
They really
wild.
stick around 14. You can't go like much higher.
Just end it. I'm
I
just
think
kidding.
last
It's
season was
okay.
17, but meh.
Wild. Okay. But before we get into the episode, check us out on the A&M Podcast Network. We have this podcast. We have It's About the Pasta, a Vanderpump Rules podcast, which is popping. And then we have One Season Wonders, which is on hold until all these shows we have to cover fucking end.
I've decided like we're taking a long hiatus because there's the new summer house of Martha's Vineyard we're gonna have to do when this live season is
that
over.
We want. I think that'll be better.
Like, that's true. It's not like we have to do, but we want to do.
But we're definitely gonna binge those and like release.
We'll catch in 2026 for One Season Wonders.
When all these shows get canceled, which we thought Vanderpump might get canceled, and now
here we are.
It will never be canceled.
Here we are.
Okay. Also, rate, review, subscribe. Your reviews help the podcast, and we do have a 5-star review.
Yay!
So this one is from Blue Meadow 123, and it's titled "My Comfort Podcast."
So sweet.
And Blue Meadow says, "I started listening to Summer is Fun in 2020. I'm a huge Summer House fan, and it's nice to listen to a podcast solely focused on the show. I feel like I'm listening to my friends talk. Keep up the good work, ladies."
Thank you.
Love that we're maybe bringing like comfort, because I don't want this to be like, I don't want to say a stressful podcast, but not like I want you to feel like you're in your pajamas, hanging out with your girls, because that's like where we are.
Listen, we're all for all podcasts. There's but different podcasts work for different people. We really like talking about just the specific episode that happened, and some shows cover like everything going on, and we cover a lot of like different stuff or long intros in different parts of our like podcast sphere. Because I always like to just like, let's get to the point, let's talk about the episode. And like whatever's going on. I
agree. Follow us on Instagram at Vanderpasta, and join our patreon.com/Vanderpasta. Let me tell you what you can get. For $1 a month, you get access to all of our fun pre-shows. I love that Meredith and I start on like how immature we are, and we end on like,
and we actually give an entire thesis of how immature we've ever been.
And then we talk about ourselves in 8th grade. And so we like really dug into our immaturity.
It was fun. We've never had a combo like that before.
It was a good pre-show. I'm pretty sure we lived like parallel lives.
We went right to the last minute that we possibly could.
Soulmates?
Basically.
That was like the same 8th grade experience.
Very similar.
Okay. Also, you get any episodes we record early, including this one. It's on the Patreon first. For $2 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, when we go back and we watch old seasons, which like we never will because we always have 40 live seasons.
I try to work it out. I think I have a plan, but it's going to be very hodgepodge.
Oh my God. But when we do go back, we still want to talk about Bravo News without giving away spoilers. So we do after shows. And also for $2 a month, we will say your name on the podcast. So thank you to Chris, Danae, Dee, Dustin, Gabriella, Isha, Jackie, Jamie, Casey, Katie, Kelly, Kelsey, Chrissy, Sarah, Cameron, Tierney, Tiffany, Tonette, Tracy, Amy, April, Courtney, Emily, Gina, Jennifer, Kirsten, Ruby, Taylor, and Tiffany.
Woohoo!
Woo! Oh my God.
This is a fun live season.
I know. We just keep getting so many people, and I'm so happy that
it's making it fun. Like I was thinking right before we started recording, I was like, you know what? These episodes may not be like, yay, but I feel like the people and us, like we're trying to make the most of what we've got here.
The podcast by the people really like makes
a great addition for a meh season.
Yes, because there's like some spice to it. Okay, and then for $5 a month, you get access to everything I just mentioned. Plus, for live seasons, we will post. You get to give us your thoughts, questions, opinions, literally anything. I don't even specify. I'm just like, comment whatever you want.
Share it all.
And we'll read it on the podcast. I did not forget. Someone did remind me. I appreciate it. But I didn't forget. I was just waiting till later.
She was at work. Like it was
work.
during the workday when
Yes,
I texted
I'm so
Alicia about
sorry.
it.
But I did post for the Vanderpump one because we're recording Wednesday night. So I already posted. Haha, haters. I got it. I'm sure no one hates it.
Alicia keeps her job for the week.
Oh my God. Meredith
Secured.
is gonna show up with a new person and be like, so they're more responsible.
Can you imagine if I was like, sorry, decline? She's not allowed on the Zoom.
We need to, oh my God, I'd be so sad. We need to hire like an intern to like do all this.
I love.
Also, we'll pick a patron of the episode. So this week's patron of the episode is Kelly, because she's gonna remind us, because her comment has to do with the mid-season trailer. So we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
And I would have forgotten otherwise. So thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Let me add you to my list of people. Great. Okay.
Alicia has a list, everyone. We call that girl organized.
My God, I'm sure I just got so much hate. Well, because every episode I would have to re-listen to who I already picked and then pick someone new, and then I'd forget.
You're like, there's a better way.
There's a better way. I do think I've messed up the list though, so no one yell at me. Anyway, let's get into this.
Wait, really quick. We are both.
Oh my God, I forgot. We're drinking Loverboy.
This rarely happens anymore. We used to do it every episode, but that was a good one.
Yeah, it was good.
I already opened mine and I've been drinking since the pre-show. But I'm drinking a Loverboy espresso martini because they talked about it, like espresso martini, so much on the episode.
How would you rate it?
I would rate it out of like actual espresso martinis.
Yes.
I would actually rate it like a 7 out of 10.
Okay, that's fair. For a can martini, it's pretty good.
Yes. Yes. That's the thing, is I'm a big texture person, and you do have to shake it up slightly, but not actually shake it. Had a mishap once. But yeah, it's the texture's a little off for me personally. I'd rather like make one with my espresso machine. That's fair.
I'm drinking the Loverboy Spritz, the blueberry lemon.
I love
because that's the one I have. It's
also they are in every Whole Foods now across the nation.
I want to talk about why they're in Whole Foods now and not fucking in Target still.
Well, sometimes like distributors will do trials with people, and when they're up, like you may move on.
Whatever. I did go to Jewel when I was in Chicago to find them to bring to my friend's engagement party, and it went from Loverboy used to have this big ass
massive shelf,
and literally it was maybe like now it's 2 little boxes.
But that was also I think in the summer, so I wonder if summertime it'll get a little bit bigger.
Whatever. I can tell you, I bought 3 cases of the variety pack, and they were all fucking gone. And they were just meant for like me and my friends, but everyone kept drinking them, and I maybe had 2. And I was like,
my sister and I had the pack that they showed on the episode.
They're good. The new variety pack.
I think they're fun. Yeah,
they're fun. I haven't tried them all, but yeah,
gotta catch them all.
Oh my God, is that Pokemon?
Yeah.
I never watched. I don't know anything about Pokemon. Okay, should we get into no wait, we have a podcast by the people from last episode.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Kelsey said, call me crazy, but I thought the conversation at lunch with Amanda and Lindsay was productive. Wait, did I read this already?
I don't care. Read it again.
Okay. It's annoying to see when they get to the house and Amanda talks to Paige and Sierra about it.
Yeah.
You see Amanda two-faced. Yeah, I do remember this. I do want to add, I feel like we need a reminder of Kelsey, or not Kelsey. Whoops. This is Kelsey that wrote this. We need a reminder of Amanda and Kyle's relationship journey and how fucked up it was. To judge the pace of Lindsay and Kyle seems unfair.
They were a slow moving pace though, but very effed up. Whereas Carl and Lindsay are very like, I'll call it whole and healed more so, and like quickly moving, but they're also later in life. Like Kyle and Amanda have an age gap. So Amanda probably wanted to move slower.
Man, this is literally 10 years younger than this old man.
Yes.
Remember when he lost his virginity when we were born?
I sometimes have a hard time thinking about that. I also listen to a few podcasts. I'm going to wait for like an all-encompassing conversation towards the end.
Okay.
But I listened to the Bravo Bros podcast with Carl on it. And then Dustin also sent me or us a link to an article that I read. And I have a lot of opinions about this at the end. So stay tuned.
I'm excited. Okay, let's get to the episode then. Okay. So previously on Summer House, the boys initiated Chris into their like bromance thing. Gabby threw a Studio 54th party. Maya and Sierra haven't bonded with Gabby because they feel like she's privileged. Robert was here, and you can kind of see cracks in him and Danielle's relationship. Which it still cracks me up that Robert literally had work at 10 and he fucking got hammered and woke up at 9.
Yeah.
Robert, we're 30. Stop. We're maybe 40 at this point. Stop.
Like, sir, I actually think you need to find a new job because you clearly want to party and be on Summer House full time.
I actually have a question. Do you think they broke up like it was a mutual decision, or do you think Robert dumped Danielle, or do you think Danielle dumped Robert?
I think it was more mutual. Like, I think it ended up being a conversation about issues, and like I bet they kind of ended the conversation of like, clearly this isn't gonna work.
I think Robert, by me doing absolutely no research into this
subject, I don't know at all.
I feel like Robert ended it. Like, he brought it up and was like,
do you think he went into the conversation being like, I want to break up with you, or they were having like a fight or something was going wrong and he was like, see, I don't think this is for us? I think he went in and was like, listen, we need to talk about how this isn't working. Oh my God. I see. I just want that shit on camera. Me too, because I think it's sad. I don't know. I liked Robert. Yeah, but I need holistically to see things personally. Yes, okay, so Lindsay kind of wanted to go to Montauk, but Carl didn't. So the girls are wondering why she stayed back for Carl. The girls confront Lindsay at this dinner, and Lindsay says there's no reason for her to go to Montauk without Carl, and Danielle is offended. And listen, Danielle's still getting a lot of hate, but I understand why she's offended, but I also understand she's not communicating correctly. Here's the thing. This week took a bird's eye view at a lot of the issues, and I actually have a totally different perspective this week. I'm excited. Excited. Okay. So it's Saturday, 8:34 p.m. We're at girls' dinner. Lindsay feels like Danielle is being hard on her, and Danielle says that's how best friends should be. Mm-hmm. And Lindsay said, if she's being pushed to be a better person, then like you can be hard on her, but she doesn't feel like that's what Danielle's doing, but Danielle feels like she is doing that. So Danielle doesn't feel like Lindsay's being a good friend to her. And Lindsay says there's a compromise with being in a relationship, right? Like, she wants to have fun, but she also wants to be there to support Carl, which I totally understand. Lindsay in this moment, I'm like, girly, I get you. Like, I understand. I get it. I think it was inappropriate how Danielle brought this up at dinner. I think that she's not communicating her point across. I think she's attacking Lindsay instead of talking to Lindsay about it. They are so close. This isn't a girls' night discussion. Like, you should be able to, with your friends, bring up issues. I just talked to a friend about this. She brought up an issue with like a separate friend, and she told the girl, like, I should be able to bring up issues to you one-on-one. Like, friends should be able to do that. And if you aren't, then you're not actually friends. You're just like surface level people. But to bring it up at a girls' dinner in front of people who hate Lindsay, but I wonder if Danielle did that because she knew she'd have support. But then you're not a real friend, in my opinion. Yeah, like, you're kind of like using the people who hate your best friend against her. Yes. So Lindsay basically says like Danielle operates differently in her relationship because she's socially single. That really made me think and think that like Carl in the Bravo Bros podcast talked about how Danielle might have been putting her issues with Robert onto Lindsay and Carl. And I don't think it's exactly that, but I think what Danielle wasn't getting from Robert is like the time and whatever she used to be getting from Lindsay. And now Lindsay's not giving her that. And it's really difficult for Danielle to operate in this moment where her friend and her boyfriend don't give her really a lot of time. Yes. And I do just see her as being hurt. Like, she is just hurt, and she's going about everything the wrong way because she's so hurt she can't take a step back and be like, let's think of how to communicate this effectively. And people call us immature. Who would think that? Look at us doing really mature shit. I was just recommending therapy books to a friend, so I'm mature. So this is also the first time Lindsay's hearing this from Danielle, and Lindsay's upset. She says publicly hearing this, which I was like, that's different, but I think she just maybe used the wrong words. But Lindsay's upset, but the girls are like, no worries, let's have a good time. So then we cut to boys' night. And before they go out, they tell Chris to take one thing from each girl. And they're like, something they need, right? So he steals like... At first I didn't get this. I thought he was going to bring everything to them. No, I knew he was hiding it. So he takes like someone's like Sam's slippers and Gabby's eye mask and Lindsay's comb, takes Sierra's underwear. Weird. That's weird. That's too far. Don't go through my bags. Yeah. That's gross. But I understand kind of rifling through to find something that makes sense, but like, that got weird.
It got even weirder when he comes down and like shows the dudes, and all the dudes, like Carl and Kyle, are like, hell yeah, dude. Like,
my dream is that like production got involved and just handed them a pair of underwear and they just dubbed it as Sierra's.
I would hate if like Kyle and Carl too are like, oh man, look at that fucking underwear.
No,
I
don't.
Ew.
You're like sexualizing my underwear, which I get it. They're really cute and sexy and whatever, but they're not meant for you.
Also,
that's a boundary you're crossing.
They're not your girlfriend's underwear.
No, and when Carl is like, oh, like Kyler, some blood flow happening down there. I'm like, what are you gonna look at Sierra now and be like, oh yeah, your underwear really turns me on?
I like that Chris did not tell them whose underwear it was. That made he's like,
I did not notice that. Yeah, so that helps.
He was like, I'm not going to tell you whose this is. It's just underwear.
Okay.
He also stole a hair dryer he thought was Amanda's, but it was actually Kyle's.
That I feel like really describes Kyle and Amanda.
Chris was genuinely like, I thought it would be Amanda's, and Kyle was like, look at my.
He's mullet. Like, do you see this flow?
Do you even know me? Okay, then we cut back to girls' dinner. They're talking about Amanda's boobs, which I love Amanda's boobs. And then Paige is like, okay, is there anything else anyone wants to say?
I was shocked we asked this question. Why are we asking for
Paige, more? The producer in your ear was like, Paige hit a beat, and Paige is like, let's do drama.
They're like, Paige, that wasn't enough drama for us. Please give us more.
Do more. We're like breaking up a friendship, but we need more shit. So Gabby's like, I'll say something. And she says, you know, she doesn't know where she stands with Sierra. She feels like, you know, Sierra's not really trying. Maybe Gabby's also being a little like hesitant to try with Sierra. And like Sierra agrees. I thought, okay, everything that Sierra said was like great. But the way she said it, I was like, is she shading Gabby, or like, is she mad, or is she like genuine?
One, I really applaud Gabby for how she talked about this. Great. Because this is how Danielle needs to like handle a conversation and be like, hey, we haven't had a lot of one-on-one conversations. You know, you seem a bit guarded. We just haven't really, like, you're sticking with your friend group, which I understand, but like, what can we do to change this? Yeah. Loved this. But, and Sierra kind of like throws some blame back at her saying like, well, you've been sticking to your stuff. Again, we get the surface level
You've been really surface, like, and it comes across as arrogant.
To me, being surface level and arrogant aren't connected. You can be
surface
both.
Level is like
doesn't equal.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to tell you my deepest, darkest fears and shit. We're just going to talk about like going out.
Sierra probably makes initial judgments about people, which like everybody operates differently. Yeah. And it takes her a while to actually get to know you outside of her initial judgment.
And she already has her comfort. Yes. Friends. So she doesn't care.
She's not as bubbly and like outgoing and friendly and like makes quick friends as other people. And that is okay. And these two just make friends, I think, differently. But it kind of came away really well. I think it was drama enough in a sense of like, hey, this is what's going on. But yeah,
I think we have Gabby a lot to applaud for it, because it seemed like Sierra felt almost like accusatory, like to be like, well, what you say comes across as arrogant. And Gabby, you know, in her interview is very much like she's been working on herself, and like she's been downing herself a lot with like the breakup and being fired, and like maybe she's overcorrecting by seeming arrogant, but she's not going to change herself just for Sierra.
Was like, I love you, Gabby. You have like, Sam cemented herself and like, I'm obsessed with her in the season, like want her back. This moment, I'm like, Gabby, get your ass back for season 2.
This was amazing, because she doesn't say that to Sierra, but she's more of like, I will also take responsibility, Sierra. I'm not like, she's not saying.
I like that it was an interview moment when she said that, because it's like, this isn't something I don't think she would even do to like quote unquote thrown into Sierra's face saying this, but I like how she is unapologetically herself and going to be confident and going to be everything. And if people call that arrogant, well, that's a them problem. Like I felt that so hard.
And she's getting a little vulnerable, right? She's like, this is why I've gone through a lot of shit. So if like I need to give myself. If I need to give myself a little hype, I'm going to do it. So then Danielle very like loudly, and I did not know where this is going, but it went okay.
I was very nervous.
He was like, I wish that I had that chance. And Sierra's like, yeah, me too. And they both like angrily agree that like they didn't get to know each other. And Danielle's like, I'm mad because Sierra, I feel like we wasted time when we could have been friends, but they're like angrily yelling at each other. And I'm like,
the tone?
Like, yeah, bitch. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm like, are we mad? Are we actually
No.
mad at each other? Or are we just mad about the lost time?
I
Like, what
think
are
they're
we?
mad at the lost time.
I
But
think
the
they
way,
realize how ridiculous it was.
but they're like yelling at each other.
Yes.
It was super weird.
I like started to get a little nervous and
I
then
was
I couldn't
too.
see where it was going.
I had no idea. So then we go to boys' night. Carl and Kyle are making rules for Chris. So the first thing Chris has to do when they get to the bar is kiss Sierra's feet.
Okay,
And then
this makes me
Chris,
feel better because
yes,
this was
as
in the
to why this is
preview.
happening.
I was like,
Yes.
feet
Gross.
weird me out. Like,
Same.
just
I
in
hate
general, like,
feet.
I'm not scared of them. I'm fine with my own feet. Like, other people's feet don't truly like gross me out if they get like somewhat decently near me, but don't need them near my like face or anything. But I just,
No.
they're meant for the bottom of the earth.
Body.
Yeah, like
I agree.
we're
I
fine.
don't mind people, like I don't mind getting a pedicure. I don't mind my
No.
own feet. I don't even mind your feet. But I'm not gonna touch your feet. I don't want to go
No,
near your feet.
lick them. No, like you
Oh,
can even
no.
like put your feet up on an ottoman somewhat in my vicinity.
I wouldn't love that, but I would deal.
But I'm not like gonna freak out over it, especially if your feet are like clean. Like gross feet, yeah, that's a different story. But like, I just don't understand people wanting to like kiss or lick somebody else's foot. I don't care how much
either.
you love them.
I don't either.
Outside of a baby's little perfect feet that have never touched the ground, nobody needs to touch feet outside
Agreed.
of
I
having
agree.
gloves on them to help
The
with my
minute
pedicure.
feet go on, like bare feet go on the ground, we're done. We're done with your feet.
They're just like shoes. Like, are you
We're
gonna lick
done.
the bottom of a shoe?
We're
No.
done. We're done. Okay, so we go to the bar. Girls are already there. Boys show up. The girls' heels keep falling in like those little holes, which is funny. Or like, what do you call it? It's like
the decking,
wood. Yeah, the
whatever.
deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Chris immediately he like gives Sierra a side hug and then gets down on his knees and like starts taking her shoe off. And Sierra's like, "What?" I'm happy she didn't pull away because I would have been like, "Do not touch
me
my feet."
too. And I
But
like
she's
that he
like-
didn't say he didn't actually say any words to her.
No.
He needed to
got
for
down.
the dramatic incident. He needed to just go in and do it.
He did it. He got down, he kissed Sierra's feet, and then put her shoe back on.
Yep.
Sierra's fucking cracking up. She immediately looks at Kyle and Carl and is like, "What did you two do?" Like, this isn't normal.
This is like, honestly, I think one of the funniest moments of the
It's hilarious.
season,
I
which
was
is
cracking
really
up.
sad that like this is like a shining
Yeah,
moment.
but this was funny, and I can't
But
believe
I
Chris
loved-
did it. Bring Chris back. He's met these three. Keep them. Keep the
They
newbies.
earned their
They're
paycheck.
fine. We'll take it. So both Lindsay and Carl talk about how they're tired. Lindsay tells Carl like dinner totally went a different way. Carl goes, "Sorry, babe." So then they both want to leave. So now it's 12:21 a.m. Amanda found water shooting out from the ground. So she gets under it and like plays in it.
Okay, what I realized is she is in a spandex top, so she has been sweating all night.
Yeah.
Because later she takes a shower and she's like, it feels so great. That she is like, I feel this when you are just, especially Midwest humidity, you're like,
horrible.
I'm already drenched. So like, I want to jump in a pool. Yeah, I already feel like I'm in a pool.
Good for her. Danielle's in the kitchen by herself. I thought she looked kind of sad, but also could just be drunk. And then Carl burped in Lindsay's face before he kissed her, which was honestly the best part of this.
Wait, Carl? Oh, Carl.
Carl burped in Lindsay's face.
Yeah.
They were about to kiss, and he's like, I just burped. And Lindsay's like,
she goes, "Take it back." I was like, "You wanted to take
it back?" I screamed. I was like, "Ew, what? Take what back?"
Oh god.
And he goes, "I take it back." And I was like,
"What? I was like, what? This is wrong." Like, you guys are like friends who decided to get together, not like
it's not
souls
cute.
meant
it would have been
love.
cuter. It would have been cuter if he burped and he was like, "Sorry, I burped." And she was like, "Ew, Carl, that's a relationship." Her going, "Take it back." I was like, take
what back?
Do couples do this? I don't know. So now it's 1:27 a.m. We got late night crew. Sam, Gabby, and Kyle.
Thank God.
The three heavens from the earth. They're dancing. Sierra, I think, just comes down the kitchen and grabs something.
She was there for a minute.
She sees it. She joins in. And then Paige and Amanda are upstairs in like Paige's room. They call Danielle in. Because Danielle's
very drunk. Can we agree?
She's hammered.
Yeah, okay.
She's not making sense.
No.
She's like drunk sad, which is like the worst kind because you're not that sad. But
to be honest, I don't want to deal with I love my friends, but I don't want to deal with you drunk sad. This is the worst moment to be a friend.
But Paige and Amanda really wanted it.
Yes.
They were there. They were good drunk
No,
friends.
they want the drama of it. But as like in a real life scenario, cameras down, you're like, get away from me. I don't want to deal with you.
No. So Paige tells Danielle it's nice to see Danielle's personality shine. Danielle's so upset because Paige was right and no one wants that, which was so funny. Honestly, that was hilarious. Even Paige like cracked up at that. Because it was drunk Danielle. She's like, I'm upset. And Amanda's like, why? And she goes, because Paige was right. And who wants that? No one.
It's interesting because Danielle is like a ride or die without asking questions. Mm-hmm. She will like be a piss at anyone. So like obviously there's been drama with Lindsay against Danielle or against Paige, Amanda, Sierra. So like Danielle is always going to be on Lindsay's side versus being really close friends with the other people. Yeah. She can't ride the middle. She has to be on a side.
She has to. She's not the type.
And so I think for so long, she's like, Paige is the problem, Paige is the problem, Paige is the problem. And now her and Paige are, whether it's right or not, are on the same side. So it's so jarring for Danielle to be agreeing with these
I agree.
ladies.
I also like that she wasn't like, I'm upset because Lindsay's a bitch. Like, I like she made a joke and she's like, yeah. Because fucking Paige is
right.
But Danielle says she thinks Lindsay knows that, like, in a lot of ways, Danielle has always had Lindsay's back. Mm-hmm. And Amanda calls Danielle like the supporting character to Lindsay, which is so offensive, but like true. I
think it's true.
But true.
What's funny is it's offensive to Danielle and you're like saying it to her face.
Yeah, but like they're trying to say it is and like, and I get this. I appreciate Paige and Amanda being like, you need to shine. You can do it on your own. I like that. I don't like that it's at the expense of Lindsay.
They're tearing down Lindsay in a fake support of Danielle.
But I wish they would just build Danielle up because she has always been kind of a B-list character.
Yes. Like I love the idea and I love that Danielle is a main character this season and a main storyline. And I really want Danielle to be the main character of her own life. And I do think she falls to Lindsay's B character. And that's a different problem.
I think that's just personalities, right?
I
Lindsay
agree.
Will never be a B character because she will not allow it.
And I think that's some of this like friendship problems is like Danielle is kind of awakening to it. And it's not that like Lindsay has forced Danielle into this character of like being the B character in their friendship. It's their personalities have made it happen, but Danielle's getting all the blame. Or God, I can't say
Lindsay's
the right name.
Getting all the blame.
Yes, and like, I've really awakened to that in the last week.
Yes, Lindsay's getting all the blame, and like I said, I get it because if you watch all the seasons, we can all agree Lindsay is very self-involved.
Yes,
she rarely shows on camera anyway, Danielle, any kind of support. Mm-hmm. It's very like Danielle's always the good friend to Lindsay's star.
Yes.
However, Danielle she could express this to Lindsay without tearing Lindsay's star down. She's just not. She's going to the two people who are going to tear Lindsay down.
I think Danielle wants to redefine their friendships. Like she wants their friendship to change. She wants support. She wants all these things she's entitled to. Yeah. But is unwilling to have the conversation or make minor adjustments slowly into getting these outcomes. I
agree.
And instead just being upset about it and blaming Lindsay.
Yes.
I've been there where like I wake up and I realize you were actually not being the friend that I need. And I tried to like change my friends very drastically into what I need and realizing they're not the friends I need in this moment. And it's okay to have those like changes in friendships where guess what? You're not my best friend anymore because you're not the person who I need through this like phase of my life.
Yeah, but it is hard. It's like a breakup.
Yes.
It is. And I don't think Danielle's ready to let it go.
No. Or take like responsibility of her own narrative changing.
I agree. Yeah. So, whatever. Paige is basically like, yeah, like you can support Lindsay, but not all the time. And like now Lindsay kind of doesn't need Danielle because she's finding support in Carl.
Which I think is all true.
Yeah, it is true. And
again, but this conversation just comes at Lindsay's doing wrong for doing all these things.
Yeah, it's not wrong. It's just different. And it can be hurtful. Like Danielle's entitled to her feelings, but if she wants to make a change, she has to
work with Lindsay on it. Feelings.
Yeah. Yes. So it's Saturday, 2:03 a.m. Gabby can't find her sleep mask. Everyone starts going to bed, and Amanda tells Kyle that Danielle went off on Lindsay tonight. And Danielle's such a good friend, and Lindsay doesn't let Danielle shine. Which I don't think it's Lindsay doesn't let Danielle shine. I do think Danielle's just such a good friend.
I think Danielle is a good friend is a great statement, but I think Danielle stands behind Lindsay.
Is a true statement. She does.
Not that Lindsay won't let Danielle shine. It's that Danielle stands in Lindsay's shadow.
She does. So now it's Saturday, 9:12 a.m. Everyone's hungover except Carl. Danielle spots a blanket atop the coffee table, and Chris basically tells her, like, don't worry about it, but that's where all the girls' stuff is hidden. Lindsay can't find her brush, and then Danielle and Chris sit, and Chris talks about how the Marines has always been kind of a generational job in his family, and Danielle's like, oh, so everything Kyle and Carl put you through, like, it was basically child's play. And Chris is like, I'm not saying that, but like, Chris
was a good sport to make them think they were doing good.
It was so funny to me that this like probably 29-year-old is like, I gotta make these 40-year-olds just shut the fuck up for like 2 seconds.
Make themselves feel important.
Feel good. Yeah. I'm gonna feed into the ego of
which like, I need everybody who like maybe is not like 100% Chris stan to be like, Chris is an incredible B character. Reframe it in your mind. He is exactly what we need.
Yes. Because we're losing Danielle as that B character.
That's true.
So we need someone to slide on in. And Paige is kind of also becoming a B character in a way.
And I'm okay with that. It's okay.
I am too. Okay, so it's 10:41 a.m. Sierra and Paige call Maya at her wedding. Paige can't wait to tell Craig everything that happened this weekend, because we all know Craig thinks Lindsay's a loser.
That'll do. Like, I don't mind whenever other people are like, oh my God, the drama, because I love a good gossip sesh. Like, people are always like, these mean girls. And I'm like, guys, one, it's great for the show to keep the storyline going, but B, like, come on, enjoy the goodness of a good gossip sesh.
I agree. Don't take it too seriously.
No, I had a guy I dated in college, and we would do this. Like, we would come back or like end a weekend, and we'd be like, Sunday night gossip. Let's talk about everything that went down this weekend. And it was so fun to do with a partner.
It's fun to do with someone who's not in the gossip. Yes. And you all have different gossip, and you can be like, oh God, guess what happened?
Like, bring snacks. Let's like, it's like watching a movie.
Yeah, it's great. So Lindsay talks to Gabby and Sam. Lindsay hasn't talked to Danielle and doesn't know if today's the day. Gabby basically says, like, the message she got was Danielle's just upset about the state of their friendship, which I also think is true. But Lindsay says she's happy to take responsibility for half, but the other half is Danielle not coming to the city to hang out, which I guess from Lindsay's point of view, she's not getting from Danielle the friendship either.
Well, I guess Lindsay probably isn't like too upset about it, which I understand. She's just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's proof that like Danielle isn't trying extra hard. It's like Danielle is doing all of these things to try and make their friendship work.
Yeah.
But it's not. This is really what turned me around at first, to be like, okay, like, Lindsay's willing to take responsibility. That's huge. We know Lindsay is not actually good at that. So she's already willing to like take half or own half of their friendship, which she should. And B is telling us that like they don't actually see each other. So I think it's hard to maintain a friendship when there is not actual proximity.
I think this is really telling. I don't love that she's like, Danielle's questioning me about moving in, but I never questioned her, or when she moved in with Robert, or her
I don't like that stuff.
I don't think Danielle's questioning you. I think she's just giving her opinion, and you don't want it.
I will never really make the Lindsay and Carl relationship stuff a part of their like friendship problems, because I think it's just such BS outside of the fact that Lindsay and Carl are dating. So like, it's now a relationship Danielle's hanging out with. That's the only part I think I
agree. But yeah, Lindsay doesn't understand why Danielle's questioning her. Does she think Lindsay's not like a smart adult?
I can't. Lindsay, actually, there are a lot of things I could say against you in relationships, so please don't actually help me.
We're just worried. Your track record's like not the best. Even with Carl on your roster in previous seasons, it like wasn't good.
Danielle or Lindsay, I know you're gotta keep mixing them up. Lindsay, I know you're happy, but like, we also are on the outside looking in, being like,
you know what? You were happy with Stravy, and then that who is that like dude that told Stassi to take her clothes off, not
Oh,
Pierre.
Paimon.
Paimon. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I
We've
mean,
seen a
there's
lot.
like an entire
Carl
7
round one with
seasons.
the finger bang. We know. But Sam feels like Danielle wasn't doing tough love last night. Sam felt it was very accusatory. And Sam said, like, maybe they're just party friends. And like, if you are, that's fine. If you need to drink for your friendship, whatever. But then like, that's not a real friendship. And I was like, yeah, I mean,
I was like, woof. I
I think
see what Sam is saying here, because I think they
I
just
do
need to
too.
change their time spent. Like, I think a lot of their
Yes.
time spent, especially the
Was
summers
partying.
on this show, is
Yes.
partying, hanging out, no matter what Lindsay's relationship status was. Like, that was Danielle and Lindsay's thing. So I think they need to, and I think the distance of the city to Montauk in the weekday is
Yeah,
tearing them apart too. But it's like they need to find things to do together that are not revolved around drinking and going out, because
I
that's just not
agree.
Lindsay's speed right now, and that is okay.
That's okay. Yeah. Um, so yeah, meanwhile, while this is all happening, Paige says that now that Danielle is saying something, this validates everything they've ever said about Lindsay. And I'm like, no, it
Not
doesn't. It's
really.
different because Danielle genuinely loves Lindsay and is hurt over this friendship, and she's saying things out of this hurt. You're saying things out of hatred. Like those are two different fucking things.
Yeah, I just it's so weird. The
It's
like
so weird that
peanut
they need to
gallery.
be validated. You know you're
Yeah.
wrong, maybe, because the rest of us are telling you no.
Yeah, it's like you could see Gabby and Sam obviously have the outside perspective because they don't have built up history with either of these
Yeah.
people to be able to give Lindsay some good feedback, which I think is really good for Lindsay this season. Like typically Danielle just tells Lindsay what she wants to hear a lot. She gives a
Yeah.
little bit of good constructive feedback, but on the other side, like Paige, Amanda, Sierra are just telling Danielle their opinions, their thoughts,
Yeah.
what their feelings are telling them.
Yeah. And I feel like they're taking advantage of Danielle's hurt to be like, she's a bad friend
This
instead
is
of
the
actually,
first time I felt like, wow, what I thought at BravoCon would go down this summer is
different.
not. And I'm
Well,
starting to get on the, I'll say, mainstream opinion of like, Danielle's more at fault here.
I think so too. I again can sympathize with the hurt
Yes,
though,
yes.
but I do think these other girls, Paige, Amanda, Sierra, they don't care about Danielle. They are fully taking advantage of Danielle's hurt. Like if they actually cared about
Mm-hmm.
Danielle, they would be like, you should go tell Lindsay how you're feeling. And like, this
Yeah.
is also your fault. Like, you should take responsibility, right? Like, they should fucking say something, Danielle, like that. They don't care about Danielle and Lindsay's friendship. They don't care about Danielle. They're
Yeah.
genuinely like, you're right,
I've
Danielle.
been
Lindsay's a bitch.
I've been the Paige, Amanda, Sierra where you don't like someone. Like this happened to me in college. Like there was a girl that was in my friend group and I didn't like her. We just coexisted. But when anybody would fight with her, I'd be like, exactly. And I'd be the first person ready to
Yeah.
like bitch, like all on and dump on this person. And I realized like, why did my opinion matter? Like we were able to coexist and not really like have to do stuff one-on-one, or like we would do stuff with the group only. Like I didn't have to give my opinion because I wasn't friends with her.
Yeah.
I didn't need to be involved in those conversations.
I've always been really big on like if because Lindsay and Danielle could become friends at any minute, you know, and then
Mm-hmm.
Danielle could tell Lindsay all the horrible things that these girls said. So I'm always like, if you don't like someone or if you're fighting with someone I don't like, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I don't like her either.
I'm big on like your friendship is one-to-one. Like
Yes.
I'm happy to help you
Agreed.
through stuff and talk you through stuff if you're having issues with a friend, but like I don't need to truly be involved in those conversations or
Agreed.
issues.
Okay, so it's 12:17 p.m. Everyone's packing, no one can find any of their shit, and then Chris does his reveal.
This I really loved. Weirdly, I loved this
Yeah, it's
episode.
funny. So Chris is like, everyone's like, Chris, you stole our shit. And he's
Incredible.
like, haha. Carl did give Lindsay back her brush, which was, I get it, you're in a relationship, but that's shady shit. This is a girl thing, dude. Give her
There
a
are
break.
no special treatments. Like, come
No.
on.
We're stealing, we're stealing.
The question is though, did Kyle get back his hair dryer?
I didn't look.
Because that's probably the moment Carl took back the
I was
brush.
too busy seeing Paige be pissed that her toothbrush was missing.
That That is different than like slippers being gone.
I agree. But okay, so Sierra's like, nothing's missing from me. And I'm like, oh, it's the underwear. But then I guess the underwear has gone missing. Like Chris doesn't know where it is.
Gross.
And the producer's like, it's gonna look really bad. Like he stole it. And Chris is like, I know, but I didn't, and I don't know where it is.
I really hope.
I think
and
it's
this
Kyle.
is weird,
I think
but
it's
I hope
Kyle.
just someone on production took it. It's so creepy.
So weird. I think it's Kyle.
It
Okay,
being stolen makes it worse.
So everyone's leaving. Lindsay and Danielle just yell bye at each other. Bye. Super weird.
Awkward
Danielle,
friendships are the worst.
Yeah, Danielle doesn't know what's going to happen between her and Lindsay, and Danielle's upset about how Lindsay's treating her. Now, if I'm Danielle, I know it's going to be awkward.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to send Lindsay a quick text and be like, hey, girl, let's talk next week at Summer House. Like, let's right away when we get there, like, really quick have a conversation.
Well, also, why can't Danielle come into the city and have a conversation?
Probably because they want it to be on camera.
Yeah, but we
That's
get
true.
weekday stuff. Come on, we got
could.
Carl and Kyle's conversation. They forced it to happen.
I think having the week to decompress and
Yeah.
really get your thoughts together.
Good point.
So if I'm Danielle, I'm gonna be like, hey, right when we get there, let's like quick separate. Let's have a conversation. You're both gonna be sober. You're both gonna be able to have thought about what you want to say clearly.
Yep.
And think about how you really want this friendship to go.
This is going to be addressed. So like you do have a week apart still, but like you're not going to come to the house. Well, yeah, feeling slightly awkward, but not knowing what's going to happen in the days to follow.
And I think Danielle needs to do this because she's the one that has the problem with Lindsay. Lindsay didn't even know there was a problem. And then if Lindsay responds, which I think she should, if this would to happen in this hypothetical, respond like, yeah, I'm down. Danielle knows Lindsay's open to a conversation. If Lindsay doesn't respond, then like Danielle can be like, fuck you then.
She's the problem. I'm a big proponent of don't ever make the friendship fall out be on your shoulders. Like do everything that you can, and you don't have to go truly above and beyond. But like if Danielle reaches out and Lindsay shuts her down, Danielle can say like, I tried to mend this. I tried to have a conversation after like
I gave you the issue and I prepared you for it.
Yeah. So I think like right now, a lot of this is resting on Danielle's shoulders because she's not actively doing anything. And you're right. Like Danielle's the one with the problem. So she needs to address it.
Yes. So we go to New York. It's Wednesday. Amanda's at Paige's apartment. And I thought they were just here. She was here to like iron things. And I was like, does Amanda not have an iron?
I thought that they were doing random crafts. And I was like, this is such bullshit. I hate this season.
I kind of hated this scene anyway, even though it's like preparing for Kyle's 40th birthday. I didn't care about it. It's going to be Western theme, whatever.
Kyle it made more sense that it was about the party though. At first I thought she literally came over with stupid crafts.
I literally thought she didn't own an iron. So she's here to have Paige iron her shit. And I was like, what is happening?
I know. I thought that pillow was like for their apartment. I was like, why are we ironing a pillow?
I'm so confused. Anyway, Craig's coming this weekend. Things are so this is my only part I like. Amanda's like, how are things going with Craig? And Paige is like, they're going really good. Craig did just ask for more closet space though. And Amanda's like, oh my God, you're in turmoil. And
yeah, like, so it's not going well.
This is the worst our relationship has ever been.
I do like them friends to each other. Like they have a really cute friendship.
This is a cute friendship. I'm starting to kind of warm up to Paige and Craig because we've moved on from the babe and baby moments.
Yeah.
We're in a relationship.
And we're in a like girl boss, but in a relationship era of Paige and Craig.
Because I feel Paige. I can like relate to her in this. Like I can't relate to Lindsay in her relationship because I do not want to spend my time with literally anyone.
Agreed.
This much. I enjoy how Paige is like, I still need my space.
Yes.
Go to Charleston without me.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm okay. I feel like Paige is taking on Amanda's role of what Amanda was in the beginning, where it's like you're just navigating her relationship. And I'm okay with that. We've had Paige be her star and own it. And I can still enjoy Paige's like outfits and the little things I like about Paige, like her interviews. But Paige can just be her relationship with Craig right now.
Then we cut to Thursday. Sierra and Maya meet up to walk the dog. Truly, honestly, these like city scenes were not good.
I am so disappointed with city scenes post-COVID.
Let's fly through them. So they talk about Kyle's party. Maya doesn't like country stuff. I get it. Sierra's pumped though because she's a Georgia girl. Oliver and Corey are gonna come, and Sierra's excited to see Corey because Corey's a good time. He's hot, but she never hooked up with him, but she would. Sierra's allowed to think that Corey's hot and about hooking up with him in her mind.
That tone, the way that interview went, which just to skip ahead, we know Sam and Corey are dating.
Sam and Corey are official.
Makes it feel like the producer was like, "Oh, how do you think about that now?" And it was like a post comment.
Like,
does that make sense?
Yeah, it was weird.
Like she was like, "Well, I can still call him hot."
Yeah, she was like telling herself it was okay.
Yeah,
but I like Sam would be fine. Sam's the type where if you're like your boyfriend's hot, she's gonna be like, I know.
Yes.
But yeah, really quick, Sam and Corey are dating. I sent Meredith a voice memo yesterday of just how like perplexed I was, truly. Because we get no lead up. We just found out
the news before I watched the episode. And so I was like, oh, there must be some like groundbreaking information. No,
they're just dating.
I'm annoyed.
This is a good, he obviously has a type. Can we say that?
Yes.
But I think it's a good match.
I agree.
I don't know.
I'm annoyed with the release of the news at this point in time.
Here's the thing. With Craig and Paige, I wasn't as annoyed because I know them both as people to then date. I can picture their relationship and I was like interested. I don't know Sam or Corey, honestly, from a hole in the wall. So them together, this relationship means very little to me. And like, I can't picture anything about it.
But I think we got news of their relationship as we were impending Winter House. So we were about to see them interact and knew that they were in the Bravo sphere. And so I think it made more sense how it was introduced than this. I don't know. It was just very jarring.
It's super weird. Whatever. Okay, so then we cut to Danielle and Robert at their apartment. They need to empty out the expired stuff in the fridge, and Robert's like weirdly fucking pissed that all this food spoiled.
He's so hostile.
I like get it that like food spoils and that's never good because you spent money on the food.
Well, but like especially because in his job he says like it is my whole job to like make sure food doesn't expire. So like I get like
I get it, but you know that like whatever
you don't spend time here.
Fridge is probably bad. But he's like weird. Can we agree? He's like weirdly upset at Danielle.
Like, yes. He's not upset like that we as a collective unit don't come here enough and so food spoils. It's like he's being very hostile to her.
When you buy the salad? It wasn't
bad. This really opened my eyes up that there's a lot going on in their relationship.
I feel like Robert's just angry.
I just don't think it's working.
It's not the Robert I love.
I know.
Okay, yeah. So they're not here because of Robert's job. They do really love their home, but they're like never here, so it's not really a home. And so like Danielle says, if they're always in Montauk or Aspen, like they don't really need this place, but Robert really likes having this place. So basically Danielle gives us insight. When her and Robert met, Robert's obviously a chef.
Yeah.
So he like is traveling. He lived out of a duffel bag. So Danielle, who is has not done that lifestyle, she would make homes wherever they go so that Robert always had like a safe place to come home
really
to.
Quick, I think he's different than just a normal chef too.
He's clearly like a traveling chef.
Yeah.
Does different stuff.
Whether it's like he's not like a personal chef and travels a lot, but he's just I think he just might get antsy and not like to sit in one place. And so like he fell into this job where he can work half the time in Aspen and half the time in Montauk, and like that gives him the instability he might want too.
Okay, I just quick Googled. It looks like he is a culinary director at a new restaurant in Aspen. So maybe he like gets restaurants started and then like moves. Maybe that's kind of like like a startup.
That makes more sense. But I was gonna say like in the restaurant, this is not typical in the restaurant industry for like chef to live out of a duffel bag.
It's typical for them to work really long hours.
Yes.
But they have a place to come home. I have a feeling, how people who work for startups, aka me, we hop jobs with the startup. Like my company at some point is going to get sold and I'm going to need a new job. Like that's just how it goes. I feel like that's similar to Robert. Like maybe he gets a restaurant on their feet, popular, and then like moves on
to the next thing,
which is fine. But I think he is, as far as Danielle says, he kind of learned to love coming home to a place. And so he wants to keep this Williamsburg apartment. That's where it was.
Yeah.
But Danielle's like, it makes no sense. So Robert has like this chef mentality where he always wants to go. And Danielle's like, basically, like, we're not rushing into marriage, but like, I want to buy property if we stay in Montauk or Aspen, which I think is fair. You've been in a relationship for this long. You're talking about marriage. Like, talk about property
Yeah.
and buying
If I
things.
didn't know that they'd broken up, like this makes sense. They've been together for so long. Like, I don't think marriage is the end all be all anymore, but like, I think buying a property is different. Or like it's a similar thing as marriage, buying property. So I think Danielle is happy as long as they do something of a commitment. But
Yeah.
I think that's too much for Robert, which shows that there just might be overall incompatible for like very long-term stuff. He says he's not a long-term decision maker.
Which I think is, again, hurtful for Danielle to hear, right? Because like long term would be, I see a future with you and I want to marry you.
Yeah.
And he it seems like he can't commit to that or buying property. I understand buying property, honestly. I think that's wilder than just like getting engaged.
Agreed.
Because Danielle can move with you, your property can't.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's like mortgage over marriage, but also not long term, I'm like, you're kind of wild, dude.
You know
like,
what? I feel like in both the Lindsay and Robert relationships Danielle has, she does everything to make them priority. Like they are number one in her world. And it's like she's kind of like being done with that.
Her needs are not being met.
Yeah, and it's been so long term of this that she's kind of like awakening to being like, I can't do this forever.
Which is also fair. If she wants to end her relationship with, well, she did with Robert, but if she also is like, this Lindsay relationship is not
no longer serves
done,
me. Yeah,
you have a right to do that, but don't fight for it if like you're not going to actually correctly fight for it, you know?
Yes. Well,
you know
like you can't blame it all on her.
Yes, that's the
hang
thing.
her for all of it.
If you want to be done, leave. Like support.
And just let her know. Like I think that's a consider, or just leave, and that's shitty.
Let
but
it
like,
fizzle. Yeah,
put you
whatever.
first.
Ghost a little. No, I'm just kidding. But
ghost a little.
Okay, so it's Friday, 5:31 p.m. It's Kyle's birthday weekend. So Lindsay and Carl get to the house first, followed by Sierra, Maya, and Chris, who are driving down. Paige and Craig are also at the house. Craig tells Paige they should get matching luggage, and Paige is like, I don't think you're up to my standards.
This is what I love about Paige.
Respect. So Craig and Lindsay say hi together immediately. I'm like, I hope Craig calls her a loser again because I think it's so funny. Okay, and then Kyle and Amanda are here. Guess what they're yelling about? Guess what they're upset about?
The parking. And I feel it. And then Lindsay or Amanda brings us back to old school summer house of packages on the front step. She's like, did no one bringing them in?
Did no one bring it in?
I love.
Okay, so Chris meets Craig. He goes, okay, like everyone really piled on Craig, and I thought it was so funny. So Chris meets Craig, and he's like, hey man, I heard a lot of things. And Craig's like, yeah, me too. And Chris is like, oh, not good things. And Craig is like, oh yeah. Yeah, I was like cracking up because Chris was dead ass serious. He's like, not good things. And Craig's like, no, I get that. And Paige is like, yes. Like the three of them were just kind of funny. And then okay, Sam and oh wait, this was the other one. So then Craig sees Amanda, they hug, and Amanda's like, so glad to see you. And Craig's like, thanks for having me. And Amanda goes, well, I didn't invite you. Which was so like the two.
That's right. You know, you're at a real friendship moment where you're not just like nice to your friend's boyfriend, like you're friends with him too. Because of the Bravo sphere, they were friends beforehand, but like you're at this quippy moment where you can be like, fuck you.
I like Chris inserting himself. I didn't hear good things. It was funny. Okay, so Sam and Gabby are here. Carl knocks off Gabby's hat, which I thought was also funny because Gabby's like, you fucking kidding me, Carl? Sam's dressed like she's trying out for Oklahoma. Has anyone watched Euphoria?
Too many jokes about her outfit. I loved this whole everybody coming in. It felt like they were all friends.
Agreed.
Like there was good, like funny banter. We got some new lover boys. Like this felt like we are friends living in the summer house for the first time this season on episode 8.
Agreed. So Danielle's here. Things are a little tense with Lindsay. So Lindsay decides to break the tension by going, we have the new Loverboy variety pack.
I get that though.
Like, cool.
You're like, anything you can talk about, you're like, neutral. We got new Loverboys.
Literally, I was like, I will give Lindsay so much credit if she just like is like, Danielle, can we go talk really quick? No, like literally anything.
Come on, Lindsay would never.
She doesn't have to. It should be Danielle, but I would have been like, Lindsay can do no wrong. Just
Lindsay, for the sake of her friendship, owns 25% of the responsibility for like.
Which is fine. It's true.
trying to force this talk, but
Yeah.
because Danielle has the problem, she owns 75%.
Yes, Danielle owns the problem.
Yeah.
So they haven't talked for a week. This is the first time this has ever happened.
That's insane.
Okay, they're gonna go out to dinner tonight. Sierra and Paige do like a photo shoot in the backyard, and
I lived for this.
This is genuinely my sister when she like literally laughs and like doesn't stop moving, and she's like, "Keep taking it." And my mom's like, "Are you gonna pose?" And my sister's like, "I am posing." And my mom's like,
I'm the photographer in this situation. I take 1,000 photos for people, whether like a random old couple at the baseball game wants me to or not.
Same. But can we agree? There's something in my body where a camera strikes me and I must stand still and pose.
That's because we were brought up with digital cameras.
Yeah, I can't
you
just
had
keep
to stand
moving.
still.
That's wild. My sister like has a whole moment.
I'm really happy that like blurry photos are in though, because I feel like I can do this a little bit more. I could do a
blurry. Yeah, blur my face out.
No, I'm saying like the movement. Before, if you had a blurry photo, you're like, that's a bad one. But now they're in. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're moving,
I get what you're saying. I just like, I'm a mess. I'm a mess millennial.
It's hard.
Okay, so they're doing a photo shoot. Of course, old ass Kyle walks out. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" And they're like, "Getting the photo."
He like catches them. This isn't the embarrassing thing for non like influencers is to like take stage photos. And I felt this as a non-influencer.
Oh my God, I hate taking a B-reel, let alone like a whole photo shoot. That's my nightmare.
B-reel goes off and you can tell who has the app and who doesn't. You're like, this is awkward.
It's the worst. Also, ask us at BravoCon. We literally one shot. We're like, great, thank you so much.
That literally was so hard to even ask for those photos.
That's it. Thank you so much for taking this photo. I'm so sorry.
It's terrible
for, like,
of me, but I'm happy to have it.
Yeah. So they take like cute photos. Kyle tells Sierra that she looks like he's in love with him in the photos. So they're all like, yay, Kyle's 40th birthday. And Kyle's like talking about his actual birthday. It was like the day before. Amanda fell asleep on the couch. The clock was ticking to midnight. And then the clock hit midnight. He turned 40 and he like teared up a little bit.
He wasn't expecting to like be this monumental moment. But he was alone turning 40. He was
alone. And this was like the first time I'm sure he wasn't like out getting drunk. 40's different, man. And he talks about how Amanda thrived in the pandemic because we didn't have to leave our couch. But Kyle really like suffered a little bit because he's more a social butterfly. And Kyle really wants to like work hard on going out on weekdays and making plans. And Sierra and Paige agree, like we got to have work-life balance because like Kyle could die tomorrow.
These are the moments that I'm like, the pandemic really did kill a different version of social culture of like after work drinks and like all these random things, spontaneous moments, not the planned Friday and Saturday night. Like those rebounded decently.
We used to do that. And like, it's crazy to me that we used to be like, should we grab dinner? Like now
you would,
groceries.
I plan if I'm going to leave the house. I have to prep myself for it all week.
Same.
If I'm going to leave on a weekday.
I can't just go out with like my hair and makeup like I used to do it all the time. I used to wear makeup and get ready every morning because I didn't know what the world had in store.
Right. Planning for what if I do something after work today. Such a different vibe.
And it was so easy to be like, I can't wait. And now it's like, well, I'm obviously not going to go out because I'm wearing leggings.
I need 24-hour notice because I wear contacts. I'm like, I haven't worn contacts in a week. That means I haven't like gone out and seen people in a week.
Yes. Yeah, it's fucking wild, honestly. I mean, I did kind of thrive in the sense of like I am an introvert at heart, but it did a number to like my actual social
It's hard to bounce it back.
Yeah. I actually just said to a coworker today because we had planned drinks to go tomorrow. But like one of my friends has a workout class till 7:30 and my other friend was like, is that too late for us to grab drinks? And I was like, no, we can still grab like drinks and dinner. She goes, okay, we should really be like more spontaneous.
I know,
I'm getting nervous about 7:30 drinks.
I know.
Same, because we gotta like wake up
so differently.
Yeah, we have to wake up.
Like sleep is such a priority now.
Yeah, because that's all we did.
Once you know what sleep is like, you're not willing to give it up.
Even though we stay up till like 3 a.m. watching TikToks, we still need
different. It's still resting and laying horizontally, shall I call
it? Okay, but yeah, Kyle could die tomorrow at his birthday party. We'd never know. So they all agree to be more social. So then
we need this. Thank you guys. Please show up and show out.
We're doing rooms. Paige and Craig are gonna share a room with Corey. And speak of the devil, he comes out his car.
Yes.
He's here.
I
And
knew this was gonna be a good episode the minute it was said he was coming.
Craig and Paige see him and they start like knocking on the window. So the camera pans up and it's Craig's whole shirt is up and he's rubbing his nipples.
I love this.
And Corey's like, I hate my friends. So he walks in and he's like, I thought it was a 20-minute drive from the city, but it's 3 hours. And I'm like, this dude has never left South Carolina. This dude's a fool.
I'm obsessed. I love that.
So funny. Corey comes in hot and he is so fun. This dude is the future of this franchise. I'm telling you. He seamlessly comes in, sees Kyle's mullet and like fucking loves it. And then he like sees Lindsay almost trip and he's like, yo, I was gonna like try to catch you, but then I thought like it'd be really funny if you fell. So I like wasn't actually gonna catch you.
Hilarious.
Which was so funny. And then he meets Sam. And Sam's immediately like, this dude's hot. But Corey immediately is like, I'm going to go meet everyone. So he finds Gabby and he's like, yo, what's up? My name's Corey. He's chaotic in the best way. He's just like,
I am so happy he was on Winter House with us, not knowing anything. Because at least that's a 10 episode. Well, what we thought would be a 6 episode series ended up being, I think, 9. That like this set up the summer really well. You know, like we know who he is. This is easy, seamless, like you mentioned. And I'm so thankful for it because the rest of the cast is not that.
Agreed. Corey's great. Corey is just like a ball of fire, but like in the best fucking way. So then Sam and Lindsay talk outside. Sam thinks Corey's cute to look at. And she like first instinct, he has this to be funny and she really likes that.
I mean, girly, agreed. Love that in a guy.
Agreed. That is the hottest trait.
And it's very hard to do. I think that's why humor is such a sticking point for so many people because it's very difficult.
So many women, because I think men have never had, like, let's be honest, men usually get the easy way out. So they've never like had to be anything.
Work for it. Yeah.
Women have to work for all of it. And that's why we're so fucking hysterical. And men are like so goddamn plain because they don't have to work at it. So if you find a funny fucking dude, you know he's a keeper.
Yeah.
Okay, Lindsay tells Sam that Corey has good vibes. And then Lindsay's like, hey, guess what? Me and Danielle haven't spoken all week. And Sam's like, why does Danielle hate that you're dating Carl? And I'm like, that's not it. But okay.
That's not it.
So Lindsay's like, you know, Lindsay says Danielle was great at being her backbone and her strength and her support and her last relationship, but her last relationship was fucked up. And now Lindsay's with someone that makes her happy and like nothing else should matter. And I love that.
My mind exploded when Lindsay said this because I was like, whoa, that's so true. You've never been in a stable relationship.
Yes. But also I think Lindsay recognizes like Danielle's always been my support and now I don't need her support. So like, where's this friendship? Which made me sad because I was like, kind of use Danielle.
I think Lindsay,
support, but like, I get it.
I don't think Lindsay overall, just in a generic sense, has a great perspective of other people. But in this Danielle-Lindsay fight, I think Lindsay does see where the issues are. I just don't think Lindsay cares as much as Danielle does. Because Lindsay's like in a good relationship. She has like support elsewhere, I'll say.
Yes.
For the kind of first time, Lindsay's the secure one and Danielle's the one in shambles.
Yes. And I think the difference is Lindsay's not like without asking there for all of Danielle. Like Danielle usually would drop anything to be there for Lindsay. Lindsay's not doing that for Danielle. And again, that's not wrong because maybe Danielle needs to ask for it. But like that's not, the roles have reversed in one sense, but not in another.
Yes. The needs have reversed and the support has not.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Friday, 8:19 p.m. Kyle and Corey are dressed the same, which is fucking hilarious because Corey's like, why are you copying me? It was just, Corey's great. This is my favorite episode of Corey and he was in less than half.
Agreed.
So now we go to dinner. We go to this place called T-Bar. Everyone basically orders espresso martinis.
Cheers.
Carl says he likes Lindsay's hair pulled back. And she's like, thanks, I like your hair pulled back. And I was like, ugh.
I'm like,
we're at dinner.
I'm ready to talk about them kind of as an all-encompassing towards the end. But these are the moments where I'm like, what the fuck?
Paige and Craig, meanwhile, gossip and talk about how Danielle and Lindsay are on opposite sides of the table.
I love this. Like, I need this. This is the eyes of the viewers.
I need it.
Because I pegged it too.
Yeah. So, we find out Corey got an espresso martini, but he doesn't like coffee, but he likes it in the sense with alcohol. And Sam agrees, and I also do. I don't like coffee.
I've been waiting to ask you because I wanted to know this. I knew you didn't like coffee.
I've never tried an espresso martini, but now I'm thinking maybe it hits different if there's alcohol.
Now I want to be with you when you do it. If you don't do it with me, will you at least FaceTime me?
I'll video.
Okay, video is fine. Sure. But I need.
I'll text you about to try an espresso martini, and then
if I can FaceTime, please call me. If not, do a video as if we're on FaceTime.
Yeah,
because I was curious if you would be the same.
I'm interested now. I'm gonna order one to see how it goes because I've always I'm not.
Make sure you ask people for a good place because
it could be bad. But that makes me think: are Corey and Sam my people? Are these my two best friends? Is this who I need to be rooting for?
I could see.
Could you see the three of us hanging out? Like me,
if they weren't dating,
I think third wheel. I'm a good third wheel.
I know you are a good third wheel, but I also think them dating is just and living. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I think the three of us would have a grand ass fucking time together.
Let's set you up with being besties with Sam, and then obviously Corey will follow.
I love that. I hope she wants to be my bestie.
I'm in.
I have an in. I know a girl that went to college with her.
I'm telling you, let's get this rolling.
Okay, so they're clearly flirting. Sam tells Corey she thinks he's entertaining. Then we do cheers. Happy birthday, Kyle. Let's all say something about Kyle. It doesn't have to be nice, just like something.
I love this.
Carl at first stands up like he has a whole speech, but he doesn't. He just says,
I thought he was going to do one of those where you roll out a scroll.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
Yeah, but he did it. But it was basically that vibe.
He just says Kyle has 5 inches, his dick. And Danielle says Kyle's the best dad and the best late night partier. And Chris cheerses his new brother because Kyle's old, which I love that young ass Chris was like, you old.
Oh God.
Then Corey dares Chris to chug his drink and Chris does it like a champ. You can tell Corey and Chris are a different generation.
Yes.
Than the rest of
this is the vibe we need. Like we don't have anybody pulling out Chris's A character. And so Corey is helping be the B character to Chris's A little bit here.
Yeah, I think these two would have a great ass time together.
This is old school summer house,
Yeah, this is great. Chug it, because if Corey was like, Kyle, chug your drink, Amanda would be like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
There's too many barriers to entry with this group.
Everyone was like, Chris, no. And he's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. It was great.
You're young and shameless and you have the time and energy to give it, give everything your effort at all times.
So Chris tells Craig, he's asked Paige a lot about him. And at first I'm like, this is weird. But then we find out Chris doesn't really believe in he's skeptical of long-term or long distance relationships.
I love this.
Which is why he asks a lot of questions.
I am too. So let's get after it.
Craig says Paige loves her space and loves watching her shows. And Paige is like, I do love watching my shows.
I get that a lot.
I love that Paige was like, yeah, me. But they also have genuine time when they're together. And then Chris is like, where do you spend most of your time? And Craig says that they spend most of their time in New York because Paige hasn't been to Charleston in 2 months. And I'm like, well, Craig, if you looked around and saw the cameras, she can't go to Charleston.
I know you can't really break the fourth wall, but can't you just say
bravo.
Paige has a lot of work in the city in the summer. Right now, we spend a lot of our time in this city, but at different times in the year, we split time.
Bravo, bravo. Break that fourth wall real quick. Be like, we're obviously shooting a show.
Yeah, but this is the first time that I'm like, their system makes sense.
It does.
It's organized.
He then shoots
in the fall.
Southern Charm in the fall. And Paige isn't, she's on it, but she's not a cast member. So why would I fly? If I know Craig has all these things he has to go to, why would I go?
Yeah.
He's shooting a show I'm not getting paid for. I'm not going to go.
It's the same with him coming to Summer House. They go to maintain their contact, obviously.
Yeah.
But I like that it's very intentional. They always try to, I think, spend 4 days together and then they get time off. And so I think he's right. The time they do spend together is higher quality in quantity because they are spending probably 4 straight days together.
Yeah.
Rather than just seeing each other for 3 hours after work, going to bed, whatever.
Yeah. So, they don't know the next chapter, but Craig is definitely way lonelier. And Paige is basically like, What the fuck does Craig want from me? And Paige makes it very clear she does not want to move to South Carolina. She does not want to move to Charleston.
She said Uber Eats doesn't deliver past 10 p.m. I feel the
I'm
struggle,
not moving
girly.
there.
When you know city life and what you can get and the quickness of things, it is so hard to go back to normal life.
Do you know, since moving to New York, how many 3 a.m. quesadillas from food carts I have had?
Do you know how many canceled Uber orders or DoorDash orders I've had in St. Louis? It's so dumb.
You know what?
And that is a decently large city, so I
Even
can't
Chicago
imagine.
can be a little sketchy sometimes because a lot of shit closes by like midnight. And if you're out till 1, there's only like a few main places and there's like a long line. Like Wiener Circle was a big one, but that always hit a fucking long ass line. I think there might be closed now or whatever, but kitchens close early. New York, I'm telling you guys, I get Paige on this because there are always food carts out until like 3 a.m.
Like, you have a standard of living, and when you move to a different place, they're not going to have that.
What am I going to do when I'm drunk? What am I going to do if I have a
New
late
York
lunch?
or nowhere when it comes to Uber Eats.
Sorry. Okay, so Corey shares his food with Sam, flirting.
This is I see how we're leading up to it, but I just need the next episode before
Amanda's got to find out for Sierra what happened to Jess, and I was like, oh, her name's not Julia. Julia was the other
girl. Yeah.
Okay.
I needed this tea.
So right after Vermont, he went to LA a few times, but wasn't really a thing. They led like half plans, but he'd have to convince her to go out and do stuff. And like, if he's only in town for 3 days, he wants to go. Like, he wants to explore LA.
Anybody would.
Yeah. So he's like, I'm 100% single. And Sierra and Sam are both like looking at Corey, like, ooh, he's single.
Sierra was making faces all during this dinner, and I don't know
where she stands.
I don't know if it was like truly making faces at them or if, like they edited it that way. But either way, I was like, she seemed a little salty.
I agree.
During the espresso martini conversation, she was like actually making faces that went with the video.
I agree. So now it's 3:47 a.m. We made it home. Listen, we were out late. We made it home. Sam, Gabby, and Danielle are all sharing a bed. Craig is bitching to Corey about trying to watch something, the Wi-Fi, and Paige is sleeping. And then literally she's like, shut the fuck up, the two of you.
It was like 4 a.m. I get this. This would piss me off.
So then it's the day of Kyle's birthday. Everyone wakes up. Paige, Corey, and Craig, we get a shot of the 3 of them sleeping. And I've decided this is my favorite room. Like, it's just my favorite roommate gang.
Me too.
I love this. Okay, Danielle and Amanda are working on decorations.
Also, Amanda put up a banner. Did you see it on her and Kyle's bed that said old ass?
Old as shit. Yeah. Okay, Paige wakes up Craig and Corey to set the party and says the 2 little babies shouldn't have gone to bed at 4:30 last night.
When Paige is telling people to get up and decorate,
you gotta set up.
Ooh, the times have changed.
Yep. Carl and Kyle do drinks. They're doing the variety pack. They're very proud.
I want to go to this party. I want all the drinks.
Kyle asked Carl about Lindsay because, Kyle hasn't really been around the 2 of them besides the summer. He's not really used to it. But like when Carl and Lindsay told Kyle teared up because he was like very happy for them. But again, it's a change in like the friendship.
It's difficult.
So Kyle's also clearly struggling with this. And we find out it was also very nerve-wracking for Lindsay and Carl to start the relationship. Because it's like, if we're going to tell people and actually commit to this, like, we're really tied to this because we're friends. Like,
this will change everything if we break up after this.
Yeah. So, and they know the first time they tried, Carl was definitely in a different headspace. He was trying to finger bang all over the city of New York.
He was a mess.
Lindsay was looking for her husband. So Kyle's basically like, what you have right now is beautiful. And Carl's like, glad you say that because I'm going to propose at the end of summer. And Kyle's like, less than a month?
He's like, you mean in a month?
Which I was like, yeah.
I don't know if you feel this way, but Kyle going through this evolution makes me go through this evolution too, of like, I needed this conversation of Kyle saying like, this is weird. And Carl being like, I know that it was weird for us too. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad we addressed it.
this is what I need. And I think Lindsay would get offended if like Danielle said like this is weird to her.
Yeah.
But I think Danielle in different words has to maybe sit down with both Carl and Lindsay and be like, this is weird, because then Carl can be like, it is weird. And
yeah, like this transitional conversation, like
Yeah.
addressing the awkwardness
Address
of
it.
all this change.
just do it, Danielle.
This made me be like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
And like finally we're talking about it.
Yeah, fucking exactly. I liked this. It made me understand like, okay, it wasn't so easy for Carl and Lindsay either to be like,
or they're
okay,
not faking that it was easy.
Yeah. It had to be hard, right? I imagine hooking up with a friend and being like, do we have feelings? Okay, we do. Like, should we tell people we're also on this like public platform?
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna lose the friendship if we break up. Are we gonna decide to do this? Like, also, who has the conversation first to be like, I know we're friends and we're just hooking up, but like feelings? Because that could like, well, we saw Lindsay do it, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, there's still that weirdness of like, do we bring our friends into it and how do we do that? And like, it's weird because it is. They
it's
were
a transition
like,
for
they were
everyone.
like brother and sister.
Yeah.
Now they're fucking.
It's weird.
Okay, so that's the episode. Before we do the mid-season trailer, Meredith, I want to hear your thoughts on like what you listened to.
Yeah,
I listened to Vanderpump one, so
no,
I
get that. I did that too, and I can't wait to talk about that when we record that episode. But I listened to, because I caught the Bravo Bros podcast, like a conversation with Carl on TikTok, and I was like, oh yeah, whatever. I've seen a lot of Carl videos, snips of his interviews this season, and haven't always been pleased with his answers, if I'm honest. So I just move on. But someone DM'd, I think, and was like, no, you really should listen to the podcast. So I did. I've never downloaded their podcast before, but I've always loved their TikTok videos.
Yeah.
And Carl requested the podcast interview because
does he want to come on our podcast? Just kidding.
No, they like kind of somewhat got into it on Twitter, like the Bravo Bros, I think, said something. Carl was like, that's not what happened, or he had a comeback for it and basically said to them, like, I'd actually rather just really talk this out. So he requested the interview.
Oh my God, I'd be so scared.
Yeah. But also like huge. How cool.
Yeah.
So I guess we just have to really shame them publicly and maybe we'll get an interview.
I will start tweeting from my personal account.
Okay, so big things. Carl said that there are times where they have stayed up late and partied. We'll go to bed before everyone, but they will stay up and dance in the kitchen and do all the things, and they are cutting it out. Like, production is really heavy-handed in the Carl and Lindsay are the problem. And so I like really thought about it this article I read that Dustin sent, talked about like, oh, Lindsay the villain. Why is Lindsay quote unquote always like the problem? And a lot of it I realized is that Lindsay doesn't actually do something, but there's this narrative surrounding her that she's the problem. There are things that she has done that I've talked about in the past where I don't appreciate, how she handles things. But this season, really, she hasn't actually done anything.
She's existed.
Yeah. And there's just a narrative around it. And so I really thought and sat hard about it. And I was like, you're right. Like, Lindsay's actually been decently like neutral this season on her actual actions, but there's still a lot of conversation around her. And I have like a justice for Lindsay moment.
Yes. Because stand my queen.
They're really doing her dirty.
Yeah, it's production.
I think on the edits, like Carl's saying that they've been staying out late and like they're not always the first to leave. And I thought about it this episode when we go out that first, or when we go out after the girls' night and the guys meet up with them and Lindsay says, I'm tired, like I just want to go home. At first when I was watching it, I was like, of course you're tired. Like that's so annoying. Yeah. But in theory, we should follow it up with them leave. I thought they were going to leave early and like leave everyone, but they didn't. They all come home together. But it still makes it seem like, oh, they're bailing again. Like you have it in your mind that they're constantly not a part of things.
Yeah. So we think it's production?
I think editing is having a heavy hand in contributing to the storyline.
Why would they do that? Because they know from last season, like everyone really was Team Lindsay, except you, I think. Like everyone was really like Lindsay.
I think they don't have drama, so they're forcing drama, any drama, even if it doesn't abide by what people want to see. I think
Do you think the edit is like favoring Danielle, or you think both of them
No,
are
I think they're just truly trying to find, they're grasping at straws for anything because the season is very blah overall.
But I mean, Lindsay and Carl are kind of adding to the blahness. But
I don't think the scenes they're filming are like, you always hear with reality TV that, you know, you can't give them ammo to like use against you, but sometimes it's just too hard. But it just all comes down to the edit. And I think they're just really laying into the scenes that don't work in their favor. And then something Carl said is like, you know, the show is known for like really being friends, and the new cast members, this is the first time that there just hasn't been that natural chemistry. And I do agree with that. Like, I do love the 3 new cast members, but you're not latching on to them and their friendship with the existing person as easily. Like, I really thought back to when Paige, Hannah, and Jordan came in. Those 3 worked together. So even if they weren't close friends with the existing, they really had a friendship of their own that was highlighted. And so
that was fun too. Like, as much as we hated Jordan, the 3 of them would like get into mischief, and we fucking thought it was hilarious.
And we don't have that. Like, they're just 3 islands, the new cast members. And like, yeah, they're like supporting different moments or have their own moment, but they're not blending in cohesively with the rest of the group.
Yeah. I also just kind of don't think the current friendships, like, it feels like,
are strong enough.
Each of the 3 are on an island, and then you have Carl and Lindsay on an island, then you have Danielle on an island, then you have Amanda and Kyle on an island, and like occasionally Paige visits that island, but she's also kind of on her own with Sierra and Maya a little bit. And like, I just don't think, we know they're not friends. We know Paige does not like Lindsay, and we know like Amanda doesn't hang out with Lindsay. We know Kyle to this day is like working on his friendship with Carl. Like, we know they're not friends.
Like, I just don't think the season's working because of the fundamental issues.
And truthfully, I think it could work if, you just kept the 3 main ones plus maybe Corey. Just hear me out. Then you have Sam and Corey as like the main couple.
But that's a link from some of the islands, you know?
That's a link, right? Because then ideally Chris and Corey can become friends, and Gabby and Sam are starting to like butt a friendship. Then they bring in more people to restart like a friend group of some sort.
Yes.
Like, I think we need a refresh of like, maybe we'll just be party friends, but like, let's build these friendships into something.
That's the thing.
Carl started out as a party friend. He was not friends with these people. He met
Kyle.
He
was. He and Kyle were in a house this year before together. So they actually were friends.
Okay, Sam.
No, but I'm saying that you just didn't hit the ground running, day one of filming.
He just knew Kyle, but he became a friend.
Yes.
Like a sentiment.
Yep. Yeah. There needs to be links between everyone. You don't all have to be like the best of friends, but right now we are just
there's too much history.
Bunch of different chains that aren't linked together.
There's too much history. Paige and Lindsay, I do not care how often they sit and they're like, we're going to be cool. They're not going to be friends.
No, like,
period.
You can't tell me that they're going to sit down for a conversation like they're friends and hit their beats. That doesn't work. Like, Lindsay needs somebody else to hit her beats with.
And I truthfully don't think if she is Danielle, Lindsay and Carl should be done. I think Danielle maybe should be done. I think Paige should fully transition to like Southern Charm or something.
Yeah.
But like the OG Summer House, we just need a restart of friendships. And I think Corey and Sam can be that beginning with Chris and Gabby there, because the 4 of them have met.
Agreed.
They can Corey can be friends with fucking anyone, and Chris seems lit too. So add them. Gabby's great. Have them bring friends. Have Gabby bring her sister. Have Sam bring a friend.
You need guys. They talked about the offset of guys, and they've said,
bring on the Bravo Bros.
There's always been more girls typically, but this season it was really, really
rough,
off balance. And Carl talked about the whole like initial episode moment where he's like, "Oh, it's just us," and it looked like it was a slight to Kyle, but it was like, no, like, how are we supposed to do this? Like, what the hell? You're not setting us up for success with like the overall casting. Yeah. So I really understood the kind of behind the scenes stuff that's at play here. And we're kind of just screwed in this season just because of stuff that can't be controlled outside of like what the cast is going to bring to the table.
I'm so pro restart.
Me too.
Restart with people we love, right? I will take these 4. Bring Alex back as a C character or something.
Why can't we have that, like, the OGs visit? Why can't the OGs be friends of, and they come and hang out or like have their own little house, but like the new cast or a new season is built around the cast.
We just need male energy, whether it's dramatic or not. I just need Alex and Jason to like join in a little bit. Like we can always get girls, it seems like, but like, yeah, Alex wasn't a good character, but at least he tried flirting and it was awkward and we all laughed a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We just
it
need
eventually came
moments.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and
interesting.
Then Kyle and Carl's stuff was no, you're good. Was discussed. It is what it is. I think they're going to be fine overall and be friends in the future. Just different types of friends. And then,
do you think he's going to the wedding?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think they're in a much better place. I think it just really struggled for them to kind of what Danielle and Lindsay are going through. Like they kind of needed to redefine their friendship, both work and actual friendship wise, of like what it's going to look like in the future. And I think Kyle and Carl actually did the work. They went through a lot of bumps, but it forced them to do the work to get through it. And I don't think Lindsay and Danielle dedicated themselves to that.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the insight.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this mid-season trailer. It still looks lame. But okay, so still to come. Corey, though, checks a drink at Maya's face and she falls down, which looks awesome. Corey's in a lot of these scenes. Does he stay for more than one weekend, or is this all just like
definitely comes back a second episode? Because you can I watched it like 3 times, and I recommend people rewatching it and taking note of what people are wearing, the styles of clothes, because you'll see there's a lot in this mid-season trailer of next episode, because a lot of people are in Western gear. But if Corey's not in a second episode, then on Sunday when he's not in his Western gear, apparently there's enough with him.
Great. So we have Kyle's birthday. There's a lot of drinking. Sam and Corey make out in the pool.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Paige doesn't want to move to Charleston. Her and Craig, it looks like she's like crying. And
that's
Craig's
next episode. They're in Western gear. Yeah.
Good. Carl has the ring. Lindsay yells at Carl, which I'm pumped.
Carl did say there's a fight coming. And
I need to see some cracks in a relation. I can't believe everything's hunky-dory and the worst thing that happens is he like burps in your face.
I do need a fight. Yeah. And he says one is coming.
There's an ambulance. Carl spent the night in the hospital.
I need to know.
Lindsay asks why her and Danielle are even friends, and Danielle's sobbing. Lindsay wants to leave the house. Carl doesn't know if he's going to recover. Ooh. Someone left, which I assume is Carl and Lindsay, but someone's like, they just left.
I think it's Carl and Lindsay.
Carl proposes. Danielle's pissed off and calls them crazy. Kyle's saying, let's salvage this relationship. And Danielle says there's nothing left.
I am excited for all of the I feel like right now we're just fracturing in the friendship of Lindsay and Danielle. I'm excited to see what the crack is, what actually happens to separate them.
If it needs to be a friendship breakup, I'm fine with that. I'm not mad when people end friendships. And then I don't even think you need to like blame someone, because if you're not getting what you need out of friendship, end it. What I'm gonna be pissed about if Danielle fully blames Lindsay for the breakup, which I don't think she's doing now. Now I think she's like reflecting. In the interviews I've seen, she seems sad. I do think there needs to be some work on both sides, but I think it's Danielle that needs to make the first step always. She's the one. I think the emotion
has died down in the current interviews Danielle is doing. I think the emotions are just really raw right now, which we understand.
Do we think, since like I don't think the reunion's filmed yet, do we think there's going to be any kind of reconciliation possible?
I don't think they'll ever be what they used to.
No, absolutely.
But weirdly, sidebar, Gabby said on Watch What Happens Live, whenever she was on it, that Danielle has the most to answer to. And I am starting to understand all of that.
I get it.
I think there will be some resolution, because I think Danielle can't help herself, if I'm honest. Like, I think Danielle like wants things to be good, even if they're fake good, if that makes sense. Like she'll just settle for something. But I don't think they're going to be close.
I don't really either, but I think there's hope.
I think Danielle will be at the wedding. I think they'll get to that point. I
think there's hope for them being cool if Danielle kind of owns up at the reunion.
I think she's going to be forced to.
She shuts the fuck. She looks at the Mean Girls and goes, "Shut the fuck up." I just call them the Mean Girls because that's how they're labeled. But she looks at them, she goes, "Shut the fuck up. I'm taking ownership for my part. Lindsay, I'm sorry. whatever. I was really upset. I was going through a lot. I shouldn't have put that on you. I was obviously hurt, and that's what spoke, and period.
Yeah.
The end. Okay.
Do you think Kyle's going to like apologize for the Lindsay stuff? Carl and Lindsay have said that they need some apologies coming Lindsay's way. And
I know, I saw them say that.
And Kyle is the other
I
apology,
think
in my
Kyle
opinion.
will. I think
he will
they're waiting.
too.
I think they're gonna wait for Amanda and Paige to, specifically Amanda, to apologize. Amanda was such a bitch last episode.
I don't think Paige really has much to apologize for. I don't think she's
Paige
done
doesn't
anything
like
out
her.
of arms or like out of character.
Okay, let's do fun, not fun, and then we'll do podcast by the people.
Okay. Which one do you want to start first?
I don't care. I have neither.
I know. Okay, let's do fun because I feel like this episode was really fun.
I have my fun actually.
Okay.
I take that back.
Go.
I'm picking Corey.
I am too.
Times two. Corey was a light in the darkest of seasons of this show.
Actually, thank God they waited this long because I needed hope. Yeah.
I'm excited for next episode to see Corey and what's her nuts makeup. I almost said Jess. What's her name? Sam.
God, you really are bad with the new blonde girls.
All blonde girls look the same.
Oh, now you know Jess's name, but only when she's not on the season. You called her Julia or Jules all winter house, and now you know her name.
It's Sam. I know Sam because I like Sam. Okay, yeah. I'm excited. I love Corey. He was a chaos.
I actually have a lot of hope that the back half of the season will be way more interesting than the front half. Oh, one thing Carl also said is the rezoning of the house, a disaster, really hurt them, but they also had to start getting permits for the parties. So Gabby's party can only have 50 people.
Oh, that's why it was kind of stupid.
Yes. And so like they can't do what they used to do, which I think they need to switch.
We need a new house.
Something is off here. Not cool.
Who's this owner? Get lost.
But they started getting permits, so parties will actually be happening and be good.
Oh, they all had to file, and it was like such
Isn't that insane? Like Kyle's birthday party, they got a permit.
That's so stupid. Literally so stupid.
I was like, I swear there's more.
Okay, so not fun. I'm trying to think. Everyone was kind of fun, even like at their worst.
I know. Quick recap: we had girls' guys' night. We went out afterwards.
Then we went home. We went to the city,
and
Craig
then
came.
We had the dinner with Corey in town, and started setting up for the birthday party.
Do you want to go first? I think I have one. I don't want to pick the same as you though, because I could kind of go like millions of ways.
At this point right now, I'm picking Danielle.
That's who I was gonna pick. We're just gonna.
I can back up her feelings. I think everybody in the world can agree she's hurt, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm shocked at how I am viewing this season compared to where I sat at BravoCon.
I'm so excited because I'm such a Lindsay stan.
I am becoming one. I don't want it to be a Lindsay versus Danielle thing. I want it to be Danielle
because I love Danielle.
Handle your friendships, because we like went on about the Mean Girls. You know, like it shouldn't be like, oh, Lindsay's terrible to hype Danielle up. Like I don't want Danielle to be terrible to hype Lindsay up at all, but I just want Danielle to. I understand she's in her emotions now, but at some point this summer, I need her to collect her thoughts and tell Lindsay what she needs from her. I need her to tell Lindsay how to be the backbone for her.
I agree. And I'm sad because I don't want it to be Lindsay versus Danielle either, because I do love Danielle. And I think I'm one of the few, and I understand that, but there's something about Danielle that I like see myself in.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I really enjoy, not like necessarily her personality, but I always bring it back to the time she talked about her hair. Like that stuck with me. There's something about TV representation, right? You see yourself. So it like makes me sad, but I also like, I can see her struggle. But like it's the communication. It's almost like we're back in high school. Like we're not communicating.
That's the thing, is like she's not communicating, but she's getting people to rally, whether it's other people are choosing to rally around her or she's bringing it on. But it's not okay. It's becoming this mob mentality when it needs to be a one-on-one conversation between the people in the relationship.
Agreed. Okay, let's do Patreon. No, podcast by the people.
You know what? You're doing so good though. We're gonna give you a B+.
Okay, so our thanks. So our patron of the episode, Kelly. Also, Kelly, I'm so sorry if I misgendered you. I think you might be a man, but I'm also not sure. And I think I might have said she, and that's like my worst fear. I hate misgendering. So I am so sorry if I did that. Please don't leave a
Oh,
bad review.
I meant to tell you this before we actually started recording, but
Did I misgender someone else?
no, you didn't, but we had talked about this, and it's Aisha,
Aisha.
not Isha.
Oh, you told me Isha, I think.
I
Or
know I
I might have
did.
said
I
Isha.
no, I was very
Oh, it's
hardcore that
Aisha.
it had to
I
be
like that. I think
Isha,
I might have said
but
Aisha. I don't
Aisha
know.
mentioned or like phonetically spelled it.
Thank
And
you so much, Aisha. I appreciate that. As someone who also needs to phonetically spell her name, I understand and I feel really bad.
we appreciate the
I do
support.
appreciate it. Kelly, again, like I am so sorry, but Kelly says the midseason trailer was still boring. And I kind of agree. There's nothing like it's just the Lindsay Danielle drama, which we already know
I'm
about.
telling you, watch it, and like
Okay.
60% of it is the Western party.
Kelly, did you get that? You have to rewatch. Okay, Tierney says, okay, here goes my thoughts on this week's episode. As always, I'm giving them as I watch.
Love.
So I'm glad Gabby called Sierra out for being standoffish and the Gabby talking head was perfect. Don't compromise yourself to please some bitches. Danielle says saying to Sierra they had wasted time. What? Like it feels to me like Danielle is throwing shade at Lindsay somehow. Maybe it's my trained view at the scene, but truly that's how I took it.
I did take it that way a little bit too.
Oh,
Like,
I didn't.
I didn't take it as like she's really trying to let Lindsay know, but I think Danielle's perspective is shifting a lot. And I don't think this is Lindsay's fault, but I think Danielle is acknowledging, like, wow, I took a side, not from my own opinions. Like, we could have just been friends, even though you and Lindsay had beef.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, guys' night was fun. So glad Chris was just game for whatever Kyle and Carl threw at him, including kissing Sierra's foot. Ew. And then the next one is I love drunk Amanda under the hose.
Loved it too.
Okay, I take it back. Amanda is is back to being the mean girl. Paige and Amanda stirring the pot with Danielle.
Yeah.
I was giving Paige props earlier this season, but telling Danielle she's a supporting character. Yeah, but Danielle wasn't offended by it, but I was offended.
I will give people that one. Like, that was some mean girl shit. But here's the thing. I've been drunk and you just start going on a rant.
Yeah.
I love it for the reality TV show of it. But yeah, that is some mean girl behavior.
Nothing like feeding Danielle's pissed offness. Totally just made up some word, lol. Say what you want about Lindsay and her selfishness. If this fight was Paige and Amanda, she'd be trying to help bring them back together, not continue to tear them apart. That's what I said.
That's huge.
Do not give a fuck about Danielle.
Yeah.
They only give a fuck about what did Paige say? Like, if Danielle gives them validation, it like gives them like they're right.
You know what's interesting is we talk about Gabby earlier in the episode, like being selfish and owning her shit and not willing to change for anyone. But like, isn't Lindsay doing that? And we don't celebrate that?
I do. I love Lindsay.
I haven't though. So from the people who like aren't.
Yes.
I told you I'm having this revelation. I'm refraining Lindsay's stuff and not letting editors do it for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's how Lindsay says it and is edited to say it. That you're like, ooh, rough. Okay, Chris totally stole Sierra's underwear. I think Sierra's going to hook up with Chris because she won't have any other options. Sierra thinks she's going to hook up with Corey, but clearly the mid-season trailer, we see Corey and Sam hanging on each other because they're dating.
Sierra isn't good at closing the game.
Sierra made out with Carl that one time. Didn't close because he's with Lindsay.
Yeah, but like think about Austin coming last summer for Lindsay's birthday. It's like she had all these hopes, and I think it's kind of similar. We're like,
she's got to stop romanticizing it.
Yes, not as intense with Corey, but it's like, oh, Corey's coming. Maybe something will happen, but you got to make it happen. Not maybe something will happen.
Yeah, she's thinking too hard, I think. Okay, on to Danielle and Robert. Danielle explaining her relationship in her talking head. It definitely felt foretelling as to why it isn't going to last. Yeah. I think that Robert just
I think that interview was also recorded after they broke up.
Yeah, I also think just like thinking about it, Robert's number one is his job,
Yes.
not Danielle, whereas Robert's number one is Robert, or Danielle's number one is Robert, but like
Danielle's number ones are like top priorities are a lot of things before herself,
yeah,
but nobody else prioritizes her.
Danielle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's just a common theme.
And finally, on to the main event, Kyle's birthday weekend. Amanda bitching about the boxes not being brought in. Don't bitch if you're not going to do anything about it. I mean,
it also,
no one else did.
I think it's all of Carl's birthday stuff.
Yeah,
so like,
it is.
Or Kyle's.
Yeah, it totally is.
So like, I think you ordered most of that, Amanda.
Whatever. I would have the boys do it too. I'd be like, how come no gentlemen?
I would walk in and be like, boys, boxes now.
Yeah, I would too. Oh, poor Kyle. I know that exact feeling he had because I had it too. 40 was hard. Is it? I'm pumped for 30. I don't know about 40 yet.
I'm just excited for the dirty 30 party for my 30th birthday. But
yeah.
30 and 40 are different.
They're different. Amanda, cut the mullet, please. Corey's interaction with everyone. That's the feeling this house needed. I always thought he was a douche on Winter House, but Summer Corey, I might be able to get behind so far. Agreed. Yeah, dude, Corey's good TV, no matter what you think.
You know what? Give me Sam and Corey on Winter House.
Give it to me. What is with them just leaving the front door open? They do that all the time. It bugs the shit out of me.
I did notice that. Get in. No, I noticed that. I actually really did peg that in my mind too. But here's the thing. There's probably a production person walking out shortly after them. Or like a camera guy.
You know what's fascinating is in like California, they leave their doors and windows like wide open. Like they don't have screens. But like coming from the Midwest, we always had screens because there's so many fucking gross bugs.
Yeah.
And it's the same in New York. I've had bugs in the city where everything dies except rats. I've had bugs fly into like cracks in my window if I leave them open. And I'm like, how? Why would you get in here? Okay. Sierra's face when Corey and Sam were talking. Jelly. I don't know yet, but I'm feeling it.
When the espresso martini, she for sure was throwing some eyes.
I feel like I need a show of just Craig and Paige. Yep, I said it. I love them together. The whole thing, especially when Paige telling Craig to shut up, I laughed. Who knew I'd enjoy them? I sure as hell didn't think I ever would. Yeah, same. I thought I would, and then I didn't, and now I kind of do.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't like it.
I just didn't enjoy it like I thought I would, but now I'm here. I came to the enjoyment I expected.
I hated it for like so much that now it's like I have no expectations and I'm like okay with it. Yeah. Also, I like Paige in it.
Like they're just more natural, I think.
I like Paige, and I think it's also I don't really like Craig, period.
Yeah.
So I like love Paige, and I think he's better with Paige.
And you just accept the Craig in the relationship.
I hate Craig so much. Okay. I'm so glad Kyle and Carl had their little bromance moment. They needed that. I think we as viewers needed that too. Oh my God, desperately.
Thanks, Chris, for that. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, honestly. So, okay, that wraps up the episode. I can't wait for Kyle's actual birthday party. Thanks, as always, for the awesome recaps. Bye. P.S. I know I mentioned it in the DMs, but I highly recommend listening to the Bravo Bros or the Brav Bros interview with Carl. It explains so much.
Huge. I recommend everybody listening it to themselves to get all the information straight from the horse's mouth.
P.P.S. Did you all see the Instagram interview with Sam? She and Corey are boyfriend girlfriend. Yep, so weird.
Yes.
Okay, so Tonette says, I feel like Danielle's frustration with Lindsay cup is so fucking full that when it's brought up, she can't help but explode. Not saying dinner was an explosion, but definitely not the right place to have the conversation while at the table with haters. I just wish her and Lindsay would have a D&L night and dig everything up and then lay it to rest. I like Lindsay, but in all honesty, the only true friend she has had in the house is Danielle, and Lindsay shouldn't take that for granted. I agree. I think Danielle's been nothing but a great friend to Lindsay. I
want effort from Lindsay to be like, how can I support you? Like, that's what I want from Lindsay.
I think that's it.
And that's why I'm disappointed in Lindsay. It's like clearly Danielle is struggling.
Yeah, I see that we all see that the needs have shifted, but the support hasn't.
Yeah.
And I wish Lindsay could see, like, maybe I should offer Danielle some support. But Danielle is the one with the problem. So she needs to be the one to initiate the initial conversation. Yeah. But from there, Lindsay needs to acknowledge, like, maybe I'm not giving you the support you need.
On Bravo Bros, Carl also said that, like, before the season started filming, him, Lindsay and Danielle would hang out all the time. It seemed so normal with their relationship. And then once they got to summer, like clearly something shifted and Carl was like, I didn't realize you had a problem with us.
I think it's the whole thing of like, come out, and Lindsay's like, no. And that whether they hung out or not, like, right, they have this great relationship. The summer house is known for Lindsay and Danielle going out and getting drunk.
Yeah.
So Danielle, that shifts the relationship, right? And I'm not saying again that that's bad, but it's different than off camera hanging out. It is.
I agree.
Tonette also says, I hate that Lindsay is missing the point that it's not so much about her relationship, but how Danielle feels in their friendship is expendable to Lindsay. Friendships are like plants. You have to water them if you want them to grow.
Agreed.
I agree. I mean, I love Lindsay. I don't think she's, again, known for being the greatest friend. I think she's known for having the greatest friend.
Yeah.
But I do think the ball is in, not so much in real life, but in this episode, the ball is in Danielle's court. Like, she needs to do something.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you say it's Aisha?
Yes.
Aisha.
Like your eye.
I love it. Aisha says, it's unfortunate that neither of them could see each other's frustration. It shows me that their relationship has become show-based. I did hear Lindsay say Danielle has chosen Rob over her as well. Danielle was busy chasing after Rob. She only felt the absence of Lindsay when her own relationship started to fall apart. Let's be honest, Lindsay requires blind loyalty from friends and partners. Danielle was okay with that. She shut herself off from those other women's and proudly fought Lindsay's battles. Now it's an issue because Lindsay isn't validating those battles. She's starting with others to please her.
Ooh.
Yeah, I see that too. Danielle moves to all these different places with Robert and doesn't water the friendship plant either.
Yeah, and then is
fighting Lindsay's battles.
Her ride or die doesn't, they don't need a ride or die friendship anymore. And so, like, what is Danielle left with? She ostracized herself too from everybody else in the summer house.
Yep. Aisha always says Danielle's behavior at the girls' night was very immature. She basically blamed Lindsay for her issues with Sierra and the other girls in the house. She is not a robot. She did those things on her own. We saw her start a whole argument with Amanda a few weeks ago. Yeah, I mean,
they say when you're like wanting to confront something, you should always use I statements. I feel like this, not you did this, or you're not doing this, or whatever.
Never say you. Okay, she goes on to say, actually, I don't want to gender people because I messed up with Kelly. Aisha continues and says, in my life, I'm the main. Danielle stated in a delusional manner, she loves playing the supporting role. Her relationship with Rob involved her chasing after him. I think they only had a relationship because she was bending backwards to show her worth to him. The same goes for her relationship with Lindsay. She is so dependent on others to pick her. Pick me, choose me, love me. I don't think we've ever seen Danielle pick herself. Danielle immediately sought out Paige and Amanda to give her credit for speaking poorly about Lindsay. People she knows dislike Lindsay. It's like we're watching her pick a new master to play pet to, and it's pathetic. Lindsay is not perfect, but would a best friend do that? Damn. I do think it's sad, though, opposed to pathetic, that Danielle's never picked herself. And it seems that no one's ever picked Danielle either.
But in those relationships where you're just picking someone else always, or like living your life for someone else, is unsustainable. So that's where I think like we've hit what have Danielle and Lindsay been friends for 5 years, and her and Robert have been together for what, like 3 years?
Yeah.
Like she's hitting a breaking point where Danielle can't continue this. But how do you get out of this role that you've niched yourself into?
I want Danielle to pick herself. Do what you got to do for yourself.
It requires a lot of therapy to be able to have these conversations and pivot your life, and willingness to lose everything to rebuild a better life for yourself.
I agree. Aisha continues and said, I do believe several things can be true at once, though. Danielle's hurt. She has real points about the unsustainable relationship Carl and Lindsay have created. However, she looks like an asshole on the episode. Yeah. Then, if you're constantly stating someone else is superficial, arrogant, and shallow, I'm going to need to see more from you than an impromptu photo shoot about talking about the hot guy
with Sierra.
Not interested in you. Dead. Yeah, there's Sierra. Boom, done. Okay, Dustin says, Seems to me that Danielle is in pain this season. Things don't look great between her and Robert. Plus, we know they break up. Also, her friendships with Hubs and Carl is radically changing. She's not being cool, but I think she's spiraling and doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's like out of her control. She's like, this is like almost a not midlife because she's
it's
only
a
in
crisis,
30s, but
and
she's
it's
having a crisis.
Yeah.
It's almost like she doesn't
but she's
know
at the
who she is
beginning
anymore.
so she doesn't know what to do yet.
Yeah.
I've been here. I had this spiral.
I've had this
like
spiral.
a year prior.
Yeah, it's hard. And you, I'm sure, can look back and be like, I did a lot of wrong too, but like,
but you know what?
Spiraling.
Looking back, I'm like, it sucked in the moment, but I'm so thankful.
Yeah,
because my life is so different now, and it needs to be where it's at.
I think Danielle just has to do the work. Like, she can have a better life. Okay, I like Chris, but he's still a huge dork. Also,
yeah, he is.
Getting Sierra's underpants, ew, but I'm glad he's here for a good time. Yeah, he's just fucking around.
Love him as a B character. That's all we need.
Yeah. Dustin also says, seeing Sierra internally losing her shit because Sam is getting more attention from Corey than her made my week.
It reminds me of the early days of Carl and Lauren type of
oh my god, hilarious
environment. Like, I need a little boy drama. I need a little love triangle.
We're just staring. Okay, and last one. Jackie says Danielle ruining her summer with all this Lindsay drama. She needs to spend less time worried about her and more time having fun with everyone else. Red, Corey, and Sam are actually together now. Sorry, Sierra. Yeah, Danielle needs to pick herself. Pick me as in yourself.
I think present day she's there, but she's at the tip of the iceberg here.
It makes me wonder if no one's ever told Danielle like it's okay to pick yourself, right?
It's hard to.
Like I think I'm a big supporter of like be selfish as long as it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
You're not going out to hurt someone else. And I told that to my sister, and my sister was like, it's so bad to be selfish though. And I was like, no, it's not. Like it's okay not to be selfish if that is what is best for you. Yeah. And you're not hurting. Like if I go into something and I know something's gonna hurt you, I'm probably not gonna do that thing. But if I'm like, I don't see how Meredith could get hurt by this, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah.
Who cares? Pick yourself. It's okay. You just have to acknowledge
take a step back. Like you gotta take a step back and actually look at things like outside of the emotion.
Just own it. If you're gonna pick yourself, be like, I'm picking myself, Lindsay. Bye. Don't be like, Lindsay did this and Lindsay's not, whatever. Okay, that's it. We did it. This was a good episode. Oh my god. Let's give ourselves a pat on the back.
Guys, we're literally patting everybody. Do it with us. Pat yourself on the back. We had a fun episode. Let's hope it goes up from here.
Yay. Okay, so
let's hope it stays here. Let's not expect anything, guys. Let's hope it stays here.
Do all the things. Leave us reviews, please, because this was a really good episode. So if anyone leaves anything less than 5 stars, you're lying.
We love you guys.
Join our Patreon, and we will be back next week for more Corey.
Thanks for joining. Bye.